Hey guys, have you ever wondered what mysteries lie within abandoned train stations at night? Well, today we're about to find out as we explore the scariest abandoned train station together. So let's go. It was a crisp, moonlit night when four friends, Jack, Sarah, Mark, and Emily, decided to explore the abandoned Blackwood station. The station, long forgotten by time, was rumored to be haunted, but that only fueled their curiosity. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" Emily asked, her voice trembling as they approached the old station. "Come on, Em, it's just a bit of fun," Jack replied, flashing a reassuring smile. "What's the worst that could happen?" The station loomed ahead, a dark silhouette against the pale glow of the full moon. Its once bustling platforms were now overgrown with weeds, and the windows of the old waiting room were shattered, like dark eyes staring into the night. As they stepped onto the platform, the silence was deafening. Their footsteps echoed eerily, mingling with the distant hoot of an owl and the rustle of leaves in the wind. The air was thick with the scent of decay and damp earth. Jack led the way, his flashlight sweeping across the decaying walls and broken signs. "Let's check out the control room," Mark suggested, pointing to a dilapidated building at the end of the platform. The group nodded in agreement and headed towards it, their footsteps echoing in the silence. The door creaked open with a groan, revealing a room filled with old, rusty equipment and dusty chairs. The walls were adorned with peeling paint and ancient yellowed posters announcing train schedules from decades past. Suddenly, a cold breeze swept through the room, making them shiver. "Did you feel that?" Sarah whispered, her eyes wide with fear. "It's just the wind," Jack said, though he didn't sound convinced. They explored the room, finding nothing but old papers and broken machinery. Disappointed, they turned to leave, but the door slammed shut with a deafening bang. Emily screamed, and they all spun around to see the door securely closed. "Who's there?" Mark shouted, his voice cracking. There was no response, only the sound of their own heavy breathing. Jack tried to open the door, but it wouldn't budge. Panic set in as they realized they were trapped. "Look." Emily pointed to a corner of the room where a shadowy figure stood. It was a woman in an old-fashioned dress, her eyes hollow and her face twisted in agony. "Get out," she whispered, her voice echoing in their heads. "Get out before it's too late." The friends were frozen in fear, unable to move or speak. The woman stepped closer, and as she did, the room grew colder. She raised a bony finger and pointed to the door, which suddenly flew open. "Run!" Jack yelled, and they bolted out of the control room, sprinting back down the platform. But as they ran, they noticed something horrifying. The station had changed. The tracks were now slick with fresh blood, and ghostly figures of passengers and workers filled the platform, their faces contorted in pain and despair. "We need to get out of here," Sarah cried, tears streaming down her face. They ran towards the exit, but it was blocked by a tall, shadowy figure. It was the station master, his eyes glowing with a sinister light. "You shouldn't have come here," he said, his voice deep and menacing. "This station is cursed. Now you will join us." Before they could react, the station master raised his hand, and the ground beneath them gave way. They fell into darkness, their screams echoing in the void. When they awoke, they found themselves on the platform again, but everything was different. The station was alive, bustling with people and trains, but no one could see or hear them. They were trapped in a ghostly version of Blackwood Station, forever doomed to wander its haunted corridors. As the first light of dawn broke, the moon disappeared behind the clouds, and the friends realized the terrible truth. They were now part of the station's dark history, forever bound to its cursed existence. They tried to communicate with the living, but their voices were mere whispers in the wind. Years passed and new stories of the haunted Blackwood Station emerged. Some claimed to hear the mournful cries of the trapped spirits, while others reported seeing ghostly figures on the platform. Yet no one dared to enter the station after dark. Desperate to escape their fate, Jack, Sarah, Mark, and Emily searched for a way to break the curse. They discovered that the station's haunting was tied to a tragic accident that occurred over a century ago. A runaway train had crashed into the station, killing dozens of passengers and staff. The spirits of the victims, unable to find peace, had bound the station in a perpetual state of torment. The friends realized that to free themselves and the other trapped souls, they needed to uncover the truth and bring closure to the tragic event. Through the years, they communicated with the living through subtle signs and eerie whispers, guiding them to old records and forgotten documents. Finally, a local historian named Anna, intrigued by the stories, decided to investigate. She spent months researching the history of Blackwood Station, piecing together the events of that fateful night. With the help of the spirits, she discovered the names of the victims and the exact details of the accident. On the anniversary of the crash, Anna organized a memorial at the station. She invited the descendants of the victims and the local community to honor the lost lives. As candles were lit and prayers were offered, the air grew warmer, and the oppressive atmosphere began to lift. The spirits of the station, including Jack, Sarah, Mark, and Emily, felt a sense of peace they had not known for over a century. As the final prayer was spoken, a soft light enveloped the station, and one by one, the ghostly figures faded away, their tormented souls finally set free. Blackwood Station, once a place of fear and sorrow, became a symbol of remembrance and healing. The friends, now at peace, watched over the station from the beyond, grateful that their story had finally come to an end. And so the haunting of Blackwood Station became a tale of redemption and closure, a reminder that even in the darkest of places, light and peace can eventually prevail. A year later, a year had passed since the memorial at Blackwood Station, where the spirits of the victims, including Jack, Sarah, Mark, and Emily, were thought to have found peace. The local historian Anna became a celebrated figure for her work in unraveling the tragic history of the station. Blackwood Station was no longer a place of fear, but of remembrance. Yet whispers of its haunting persisted. On the anniversary of the memorial, 4 new friends, Michael, Lisa, Daniel, and Rachel, decided to visit Blackwood Station. They were drawn by the stories of its haunting, eager to experience the supernatural for themselves. They stepped onto the platform, the cool night air tingling with a sense of anticipation. The moon cast an ethereal glow over the station, and the air seemed to hum with a quiet energy. They were prepared with flashlights, cameras, and a Ouija board, ready for a night of ghost hunting. As the friends explored the station, they were struck by how unchanged it seemed since the stories they'd heard. The tracks were still overgrown with weeds, and the waiting room was as eerie as ever. They set up their equipment and settled in the control room, the same place where Jack, Sarah, Mark, and Emily had encountered the ghostly woman. "Let's start with the Ouija board," Lisa suggested, placing the board on an old dusty table. They gathered around, placing their fingers lightly on the planchette. "Is anyone here with us?" Daniel asked, his voice steady despite the tension in the room. For a moment, nothing happened. Then slowly, the planchette began to move. It spelled out YES. "Who are you?" Rachel asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "HELP." The friends exchanged uneasy glances. "Help with what?" Michael asked. The planchette moved again. "Trapped where?" Lisa pressed. The friends felt a chill run down their spines. They had heard the story of how the ground had given way beneath Jack, Sarah, Mark, and Emily. Could there be some truth to the idea that the station held more secrets underground? Determined to uncover the mystery, they searched the control room and found a trapdoor hidden under an old rug. With some effort, they pried it open, revealing a set of stairs descending into darkness. Armed with their flashlights, they cautiously made their way down. The air grew colder as they descended, and the scent of damp earth and decay intensified. At the bottom of the stairs, they found themselves in a network of tunnels. The walls were lined with old rusted pipes and decaying wood, and the faint sound of dripping water echoed around them. "This must be where they meant," Michael said, his voice echoing in the confined space. As they ventured deeper into the tunnels, they came across an old iron door. It was slightly ajar, and beyond it, they could hear faint whispers. Pushing the door open, they stepped into a large chamber lit by the dim glow of phosphorescent fungi clinging to the walls. In the center of the chamber stood the ghostly figures of Jack, Sarah, Mark, and Emily. Their faces were etched with relief as they saw the new group. "Thank you for coming," Jack said, his voice a soft echo. "We need your help to be truly free." "What do we need to do?" Rachel asked, her fear momentarily forgotten. "There's an artifact," Sarah explained. "An old railway lantern that was part of the original accident. It's cursed and holds our spirits here. You need to find it and destroy it." The friends agreed and split up to search the tunnels for the lantern. The atmosphere grew more oppressive the deeper they went, the air thick with a malevolent energy. Shadows seemed to move on their own, and the whispers grew louder. Finally, Daniel found the lantern, tucked away in a dark alcove. It was old and rusted, its glass cracked and stained with what looked like dried blood. As he picked it up, a wave of darkness washed over him, and he felt a cold hand grip his shoulder. "Destroy it quickly," Jack's voice urged, echoing through the tunnels. Michael, Lisa, Daniel, and Rachel gathered around the lantern. Using a large rock, Michael smashed it to pieces. As the lantern shattered, a deafening wail filled the chamber, and the oppressive energy lifted, replaced by a sense of peace and calm. The ghostly figures of Jack, Sarah, Mark, and Emily smiled, their forms becoming more transparent. "Thank you," Emily said. "We can finally move on." With those words, the spirits faded away, their presence lingering as a warm, gentle breeze that swept through the tunnels and up to the surface. Don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling explorations and join us on our next adventure into the unknown. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay spooky.